Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is January 13th, 2021, and this is episode 176. Today we're going to look at the Cimmerian. Hope I'm saying that right. Cimmerian, the Frost Giant's daughter. This is a Robert F. Howard creation that has become a comic book, and just want to say that this is the second issue of this arc, and it comes out by Ablaze, is the publisher. It's a recommend. The first issue was really good, very strong. This is for mature readers, okay? I just want to go put that out front right off the bat. We've got a nice design on this cover, nice diagonal action show. We've got in the bottom here, we've got the Cimmerian wandering through the frozen realm, and we have this beautiful red-headed goddess just looking over the proceedings below with her giant polar bears by her side. Now, in the first issue, there was a massive war between, I think it's the Acers and the Vanniers. And I think they had the Acers had hired Conan, the Cimmerian, to be on their side and help fight. Well, at the end of the fight, at the end of the first issue, there was just two left. It was Heimdall and the Cimmerian. And so they were facing off for the beginning of this issue as this red-headed goddess of the frozen realm looks on in pleasure. So we get a little blurb here about the story of the Frost Giant's daughter, which is really nice. Plus they give you some actual text from Robert E. Howard's Frost Giant's daughter's story in the back here too as well. So first starts off, we pick up with the fight. It's just Conan and this man named Heimdall left, and he's a mighty warrior of his own. So I think her name is Attila. She is very excited about the proceedings. She's been kind of watching it from far. She's got kind of powers like telepathy, and I think she can see great distances as well and just tell what's going on as well. She's kind of some kind of witch, but she calls herself a goddess, okay? So we'll find that out in a little bit. So we've got Conan making a mistake of getting the sun in his eyes. You can see him here, and he takes a blow by the axe of Heimdall. So it looks to be like it's all over as Conan is on all fours. Heimdall is standing over him, and as he goes to take his final swing, Conan summons the strength to fight off the blow while pulling his sword and plunging it deep into Heimdall's body as the goddess, the red-headed goddess Attila, jumps for joy. She's just loving the battle. She loves blood. The whole thing just excites her to no end. So as we see, Conan gets the upper hand and just begins thrusting his sword into the chest of Heimdall, killing him. But he's spent, he's wounded, he's tired, and suddenly Attila shows up and he yells at her, "Vanir!" as he holds his sword up. But she's sitting here just juggling heads, decapitated heads. As you can see, she's drawn very beautifully. She's very, what's the word, seductive in this. She also very teasing. And so Conan's trying to figure out what's going on here as he looks at her closely. And basically, so begins kind of a chase scene where she pushes him away. And he's frustrated because he's now believing that she is the prize of the war, the spoils of the war for him. He's the lone survivor here. And she shoves him away and teases him some more with some different body angles and whatnot. and she runs off, and he's yelling, "Come here!" So he chases her a good deal up this mountainside. Through you can just see this, the landscapes drawn here are just wonderful. And the time while she's talking to him, she's also seems to be communicating telepathically to him as well, with a little more serious tone. So look at this. He's just out of breath. He's stumbling by, but he can't give up because he's Conan. He's just all powerful, and he believes no one's greater than him. So he just keeps on going. He gets to a little glen here in the snowbanks and decides to try to start a fire. And she's just above, laying in the snow. The snow doesn't affect her at all. She's at home there, and so she's humored by his attempts to try to start a fire. And he just says, I need some sleep. Can you just go away? And she says, well, we'll pick this up tomorrow. And she climbs down, and I guess kind of at a distance, more or less, keeps teasing him, talking to him, taunting him. And she's fascinated by this man at the same time, as her remarks indicate. And finally, he just says, "You better not be here when I wake up." And so with that, she does wander off, and we have evening. Nice painting here. But early the next morning, she's back off, bounding down the mountain, and he sees her. He says, "Okay, you're mine. I'm going to take you." And he grabs her, and they tumble down the mountainside, and she's just laughing all the way. She's not injured or anything, and she gets away from him again, and she teases him some more. Just a really, really crazy story, but it's so sensual and seductive, and so much just humanness in it, as far as the feelings you feel for Conan, as he just keeps pushing and pushing. He's not going to give up no matter what, no matter how tired, no matter how wounded he is. And she sees this in him, and she's intrigued by him. And he follows her up to this steep mountain, and she's able, I don't know if she's doing it or just cracks on her own, but it's kind of splits in half here with a huge crevasse. And at one point, as he gets close to her again, says, "You're crazy," and she just pushes him into this ravine. And he yells, "Witch!" And she says, "Goddess." And he falls down into this frozen water underneath, and she is so stimulated by it that she begins to pleasure herself as she feels his fight for survival. And he plunges deep in the water, and he finds that there's all these other bodies down there of, I guess, past suitors that could not capture the goddess. And so she's actually whispering to him, "Drop your armor, don't let your armor draw you down." In the meantime, we start hearing these other voices from the dead underneath saying, "Stay with us, stay with us." This is just a really good story, as she gets more excited by the whole ordeal Conan's going by. She can picture it in her head, and we can see he drawing his sword, and he's slicing up some of these bodies as they've tried to hold on to him. And he makes his way through the ice finally to the top, but he's still way down the abyss here. And she's just totally satisfied that he's out. She's satisfied herself and the thought of him and everything. So he makes his way up, just climbing, and you can see the grit, determination in his face as he just continues to climb. And he's almost to the top here, and we see she's just waiting for him to see him again. And this is to be continued, but just a really stirring story. Just like I said, this is a very mature. It is a recommend, obviously. I really enjoyed it. Just seeing the ordeal that Conan goes through trying to claim his prize that he rightfully won for this battle. And I think we're going to find more about Attila in the future, more about her background, who her father is, and perhaps there might be some kind of other battle with those gigantic polar bears that we saw in the first issue that were kind of guarding Attila. I don't know if I'm saying that right. It might be Attila. I'm not sure. But please, if you're interested in Conan, I think you're going to love this story. It is just so, so strong. And the art is so fantastic. It is by Robin Recht. I'm not sure how you say that. He did the writing and the art. So busy guy, and he's doing a fantastic job for Ablaze. Just get a little bit another second shot at all this. I just really enjoyed this. Highly recommended for mature audiences, of course. Okay, here's the text I'm talking about. That is The Frost Giant's Daughters, Part 2. The Part 1 was obviously in the first issue. And it just kind of goes through. You get a little bit of text of what Robert F. Howard had written. Then you get a little few pages. This was in the first issue too. It's just kind of a preview of Unsacred by Mirka Andolfo. I'm sorry. And just a couple pages here. We get the chance to see some of the variant covers. This was the cover that we had, cover A, except it had some title on it. It's also available without the title. And so I think this is going to probably pick up in interest. It's very good. And that I kind of really like that one. It's just the Cimmerian just standing there in the ice posing. So here's the cover for the next issue. So you can see they're in an embrace. I don't know if this is is telling us what's to come, if they are going to come together here and become lovers, or if it's just a teaser cover like we see so often. And of course the back cover, have you finally admitted defeat? I don't think Conan ever admits defeat. So thank you very much for stopping by and listening to me on this review. As always, please subscribe, please like, please leave comments, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. As always, this is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.